Hi, I'm Nathan with this week's Science and Tech News. An MIT team has won the SpaceX Hyperloop Design Contest for SpaceX and Tesla Motors founder Elon Musk's high-speed transportation tech. The Hyperloop would use passenger pods that can be fired through vacuum tubes at more than 600 miles per hour. Whoosh! The MIT team came first in a SpaceX competition to design pods that could be tested in a prototype tube. The team will now have an opportunity to build and test its design in the USA. Elon Musk, the real-life Tony Stark, first announced his vision for a Hyperloop transport system in August 2013. Although SpaceX is not developing its own Hyperloop, the company says it wants to accelerate development of the idea and is building a mile-long test track in California. The winning entries in the company's design competition will now have the opportunity to test them in a full-scale tube over the summer. MIT's pod focuses on levitating as well as moving at really high speeds. To help reassure nervous riders, the MIT designers have included super-safe brakes, which would stop the pod if the computer systems failed. However, the design doesn't currently have space for cargo or passengers. More than 115 teams entered the design competition, with the MIT engineers scooping the best overall design prize. 22 teams will now go on to test their pod designs on the SpaceX test track.
If I have a date and I want to see the opera in San Francisco, I can literally do that and be back in time to go to sleep in my own house.
Speaking of Elon Musk and Tesla, Bill Nye says NASCAR should use electric cars, especially with the high speeds they're hitting and the environmental damage that traditional fossil fuels cause. Just 2 weeks before the start of the 2016 racing season, Bill Nye the Science Guy, as he's commonly known, says the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, or NASCAR, is breaking his heart by staying committed to fossil fuels. Nye thinks the Sport Racing League could not only shrink its own carbon footprint by switching to electric cars, but also change the world. Nye imagines a field of Tesla-inspired electric vehicle racers cruising quickly and quietly around NASCAR tracks in places like Daytona and Indianapolis, entertaining crowds and inspiring fans to go out and purchase their own electric cars. See, during a 500-mile sprint series race, the field of 43 cars will consume up to 4,300 gallons of gas and produce at least 43 metric tons of carbon dioxide, according to a NASCAR spokesman. Some events are shorter than 500 miles, but with 40 races, plus an all-star race as well as tons of practice runs, NASCAR pumps out thousands of metric tons of pollution per year, and that's just with its popular Sprint Cup series. Nye argues an electric car could completely outperform a gas-powered competitor, but technology must continue improving for them to reach NASCAR speeds.
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
A huge population of endangered lions was found in Ethiopia, confirming centuries-old stories that the big cats thrived there. In a remote part of northwest Ethiopia, a large group of endangered lions sleep, survive, and stay hidden. The discovery of these lions is a rare piece of good news. Conservationists say that this expands the knowledge of the way these endangered species populations are spread out. The presence of lions in northwest Ethiopia also raises hopes that endangered big cats can survive in other parts of Africa, like in Sudan. The Born Free Foundation, an organization based in Britain, said this new group of lions was discovered in the Al-Atash National Park by Oxford University's Wildlife Conservation Research Unit. Before the discovery, the Al-Atash National Park was considered as a possible habitat for lions, and the park was rarely visited by people. The Oxford team snapped images of the lost lions by setting up camera traps on a dry riverbed. The images also picked out lion tracks and confirming reports from residents that lions are indeed living in this area. Is Simba hiding among them?
This'll all be mine?
Everything the light touches.
Wow.
Harvard scientists have 3D printed a brain to learn the secret behind its folds, growing it from a fake gel to understand our cortex. See, the human brain is immediately recognizable by its cortex, meaning bark in Latin, which is the main outer layer of tissue that has ridges and folds. The cortex is just several millimeters thick, but has tons of surface area packed into the skull. Harvard researchers think the brain might be folded up because of physical forces, and a new study now provides the first evidence to this. To test this, scientists used magnetic resonance images, or MRIs, to create a 3D printed cast of an unfolded 22-week-old human brain. The discovery, published in the journal Nature Physics, may solve an old mystery about the structure of our gray matter, and could even help shed light on certain disorders that may be linked to underfolding or overfolding of the brain. Who knew our brains had to be folded up like laundry?